Everybody, like Rose 31 back here for FSI DFS. I'm going to be breaking down the 6-game slate for Thursday, the 14th of April, which unfortunately April showers bring May flowers. So it looks like that potentially might lose a game here to rain again, like we lost a couple over the last couple of days. So if you look at the screen, the ones that are in like baby blue, it's going to be New York and Toronto, 87% chance of rain. I'm in northeastern Pennsylvania, about 2 hours away from Yankee Stadium, which I know is a little bit of a distance, but still our weather forecast is pretty turbulent for tomorrow. So with wind and thunderstorms and heavy rain and stuff, I just don't know if they'll get that one in. But the rest of the games look pretty good. We got Coors Field, a little bit cool out there. I think temperatures in the 50s, high 50s, low 60s. There's wind there about 18 miles per hour, but it's blowing like straight across the outfield to the right field. So I don't know if that's going to really affect anything. And Kansas City has about a 14 mile per hour wind blowing out there. So the rest of the games are in the 60s, nothing like super hot, super cold. I think the warmest one out there is going to be Texas and the Angels. I think they're actually up to the 70s at game time. So pitching, we've got some options here on the high end. It's better than the last couple of slates that I've had to break down where we're at the 4th and 5th starters, and there's really not many options. Walker Buehler is going to be the highest priced guy out there, and he has a matchup against Cincinnati, which is a decent matchup. They lost most of their team to Seattle, and they do have some strikeout guys like Votto in there. Just thinking with Walker Buehler, didn't have the greatest spring, didn't have the greatest first start, and sometimes he's got a short leash, as all the Dodger pitchers do. It seems like they have such a strong bullpen that sometimes they just go 4 or 5 and that's enough, and then they get pulled out of the game. Even Clayton Kershaw got pulled pretty early today, so always a risk. So I think he's my second favorite high-end pitcher. I think I really like Charlie Morton here against San Diego. Yeah, the Braves had to travel, and it's a pitcher's ballpark. Morton has did good in spring training. He did good in his first start here. San Diego really has not been the offense without Tatis that they've been in the past. Really struggling to put up runs. Their average run per game, if you take out the one double-digit game against Arizona, and again, it was Arizona at Arizona against a bad pitcher. So if you just completely throw that out, in the 6 games they played, their average run production is like 2.8. I'll definitely sign me up for that. Some strikeouts in the lineup. So I think Morton, if you're going to pay up for the pitcher, is the one to look at. Gossman, if the game does play, it's definitely going to probably be better for the pitchers, although the just the temperatures and the Yankees are striking out pretty much a decent amount too. So it's risky, but if you want to play him at GPP, I think I'm fine with that. I would not touch him in cash. If we're looking at the cheaper pitchers, on the other side of the Braves matchup is Musgrove, and Musgrove actually had a very, very strong first start. I think he put up like 22 DK points, and I don't really mind him against the Braves. And yes, the Braves have put up some runs, but they went kind of cold today, and they made Ray from Washington look like a Cy Young winner. It's just pretty much amazing after I said, to everybody, fade him, don't play him. So the Braves could be hot and cold, and they did have to travel all the way out to the West Coast because they do believe they played in Atlanta today or Washington. Anyways, it was on the East Coast. It doesn't matter which venue it was at. There still was a travel in between. So first day out west, very far out west, time change, everything like that. I think Musgrove is okay there. Ohtani, he can be hot and cold also. Picks up a good matchup against Rangers. Rangers have had a resurgence. They really started to rebuild the roster, got rid of some of the high K guys like Gallo, and picking up like Seager there, and it's just been it's a better lineup there, but still I think they're not perfect. Again, Texas Stadium is decent. The weather is not 90s there. It's like only 70s. So I think Ohtani can be potentially used here too as SP1 or SP2. Severino, Toronto has just like been doing very, very well. to start the season. They're hitting well. They're hitting the ball deep. They're hitting the ball hard. I would pretty much avoid them. I think even if this game does play, I'm really not interested in Severino. And then Mies for Detroit against KC. KC is another one of those teams where sometimes they're hitting well and sometimes they're not. The wind's blowing out a little bit there. So I think, if you're playing like some GPPs, there's not many options today with especially if we're losing a game. So if you want to mix him in a little bit, I think he's okay. But again, I'm not making him a priority. Cheaper one, Dunning. The Angels have been striking out. Rodon has really not been having a great season. Ohtani's been striking out too. I mean, he hasn't off to a super hot start. Trout's been okay. Marsh has been okay. Walsh has been okay. So if Duffy's in the lineup, I mean, he's actually started, and Dunn's a little bit of a neutral to almost a reverse splits pitcher. He's a righty, so Angels do have a lot of decent right-handed bats, but I think if you're looking for a cheap punt, I'm not recommending him as like a lock, but I'm saying that, in a GPP context, if you want to pay down for somebody, I think he would be the best choice coming in at 6,400. Greinke, I think, also you could consider their Detroit does have some built-in strikeouts to that lineup. They're another team that's like hot or cold. They're going to put up 11 runs or they're going to put up absolutely nothing. So, so I think that, Greinke's not the same pitcher he used to be. But then again, look at like Bartolo Colon or look at like even like John Smoltz or some of these like pitchers that pitch like late into their 40s. They figured out how to become pitchers. They no longer had like the velocity. They just knew how to pitch and get out of situations. And, Greinke's going to give up runs definitely, but he's still going to get some strikeouts. He's still going to eat some innings here and there. He's not like Matt Harvey, like where he just I don't know, Matt Harvey had an injury, but he just kind of like fell off a cliff one day and was just like absolutely horrible and turned into a gas tank. And everybody was targeting him. So I think, between Dunning, I think I take Dunning first. This would be Detroit upside. Actually, no, Greinke has Detroit. The upside there, and then Dunning against Arizona. I'm fading the whole Cincinnati situation. They have an opener, and then they have San Martin. I take it that this guy is a pretty good prospect, but his first outing was not good. His spring training was not good, and he's 9K, and he's a lefty facing Dodgers who have some really good right-handed bats. So no thank you, fade there. And then Freeland is probably the worst pitcher on the slate for Colorado. And then Steele's not bad. I mean, he had a good first game, but just in Coors Field, I just don't trust him. If you want somebody super contrarian, maybe Steele, because the Rockies sometimes can go cold, but this year they seem like they've improved too with some of the pieces they have. So that'd be the pitching breakdown. So I'm probably going Morton. I might just stack that game, go Morton Musgrove or Morton Ohtani. Maybe I'll get up to Bueller. And then in GPPs, I might mix in a little bit of Mies, Greinke, and Dunning there with some of the higher end guys. For stacks, I definitely like the Chicago Cubs. There's 11.5 total there. It's the highest total on the slate. They have some nice right-handed pitching or hitters there against the lefty. Same thing with Colorado with Cron and Joe. I think they have some decent right-handers to go against the Cubs lefty there. Also, the Dodgers, like I said, they're starting out with an opener, and then the guy that's coming in, San Martin, I just have not seen anything good from him in spring training or to start the season. So I think he'll definitely give up some runs. Dodgers definitely make a good stack there. And like I said, Dunning, Angels have some right-handed power, definitely with Trout and Rendon, and he's kind of almost a reverse splits pitcher there, and has a history of giving up home runs through his short career. It's only been a couple years, so he doesn't really scare me there. So I think the Angels, and they have a pretty high implied total also and they're a pretty big favorite for tomorrow also. New York and Toronto, I think, are just GPPs. If the game plays, I think I'd prefer Toronto over Severino and not the Yankees over Gausman. But again, it's GPP, so the Yankees probably have low ownership with the weather and somebody that you might be able to play in there. And then Atlanta, if you believe that they bounce back, I think they're GPP, but I think, Musgrove, from what I saw in his first start and his spring training, I think he's the real deal. Don't know how great the San Diego bullpen is, or how well the Braves will travel, or if they'll actually be able to hit again after having a pretty cold snap today. So there'd be a third GPP stack. If you're looking for a cheap stack, like I said, the wind's blowing out, so Detroit or KC, the pitchers aren't great pitchers there. There are definitely some cheap pieces there that you can put in. And then obviously for leverage, if we think Ohtani's going to be a popular pitcher, Texas is one that you can throw in there. Actually, Texas might be my favorite GPP stack because with the weather situation in Atlanta up against a good pitcher, Texas against Ohtani might be where I look for GPP there. And then San Diego, if you think everybody's going to be on Morton for some leverage there, if you think that they can go home and some home cooking is going to remedy some of their hitting, and they're going to be able to put up some runs, and go for it there. So I just want to go over a couple lineup builds with you before we are out of here for the day. So first one, like I said, I'm looking at stacking the Cubs and Colorado. I really feel the second base and shortstop position are weak. I mean, if you want to try to jam guys in there to do a full core stack, it works. I mean, the pricing isn't too bad this early in the season. Morton's just definitely my SP1. You can definitely find value guys to go in second and shortstop if you want to put Walker Buehler in. If you want to go Musgrove or Ohtani, then you can definitely go in there. If you want to stack the two Texas guys there with that you would have with Seager and Simeon, fill them in there, then you probably have to take a really, really cheap pitcher, and you might have to downgrade another one of these guys here. But that's something else if you just wanted to go like all bats, if you don't really trust any of the pitchers, and figure out which two pitchers work there and throw those guys in, figure out if you want Suzuki or Bryant, or if you want to change any of the rest of this. But these are pretty much the core guys that I like for that. So that's my number one. And then I think in GPPs, what I'm looking at is Musgrove. Like I said, I liked his first start. I liked his spring training. Atlanta didn't really hit well today, has to travel out to the other side of the United States, time change, travel, everything like that. So it's the first game of the series, so I think that he'll do well there. And then I am stacking the Angels. So Marsh has hit pretty well. Merrifield is actually he's on Kansas City. So Marsh and Trout and Mayfield's one I'm looking at here. Fills in at second base. Has started the season pretty well. If Duffy's in the lineup, like I said, Dunning's a reverse switch one, and Duffy has started the season really, really solid too, and he's usually pretty cheap. So he's one to put in there. And then I like pairing him with Kansas City. So Perez, Witt, and Merrifield there. I think usually there's like 1, 2, 3 in the stacks. And then, shortstop is just such a bad position this year. You just have to figure out who fits in there. Like most of them hit down the bottom lineup, and really, really not many good candidates for that. They're either super expensive or they're really cheap guys hitting like 7th, 8th, or 9th and pretty risky. And then figure out who works for your SP2. So that's where I'm going. So appreciate you watching our video here. Again, I'm MegaRuler31. If you have any questions, you reach out to me on Twitter at MegaRuler31. Leave some comments below. Please like our video. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't, so you know when our videos are coming out, and check out all the other different things that we cover on our channel. Big NASCAR weekend coming up. We got 2 dirt races, so we'll try to cover that. We cover an F1 and so many other things. So if you want more information about FSI, if you go to the information for this video, all the links for our Discord and our site to sign up are all down there. And there's if just get into Discord, there's plenty of actually free rooms in there too for things to help you out. So just check it out. It's a great community. We've really grown over the last couple of years, and met so many great people, and really appreciate all of you guys watching these videos. From where we started last year when McKinley and I formed our partnership to cover MLB, to like where we're at starting off the season. It's just been pure fire, and the results have been good. And again, it's just so great to meet some of you guys and girls who are out there playing too, and just to interact with you and meet some people that are out there playing DFS and having success. So thanks again for watching. I'm Mega Ruler 31, and we'll see you next time.